Welcome to Amplified Soccer's Google Hangout series. Today's Hangout is titled College Soccer, How to Get Recruited. And I am joined by Chicago Fire forward Quincy Amarikwa and former Colorado Rapids and Rochester Rhinos midfielder Ross LaBauex. Together, Quincy and Ross wrote the ultimate college soccer recruiting blueprint and co-founded PerfectSoccerRecruit.com. Today, we're going to discuss the best way to get recruited to play college soccer. And having written the blueprint on how to do so, Quincy and Ross are the perfect guests. So before we get started, I want to remind you to remember to send your questions for Quincy and Ross into ASM Athlete on Twitter or at Quincy Amarikwa or at Ross LaBauex using the hashtag SoccerRecruit, and we'll try to get to as many of those as we can at the end of the show. So thanks again for joining us today, and let's begin with some introductions. Ross, why don't we start with you?
All right, perfect. Like Eric said, my name is Ross LaBauex, 26 years old. I am from the south side of Chicago. A little bit about me. I played youth soccer with Chicago Magic. After that, I went on to play college soccer at the University of Virginia. 4-year letterman at the University of Virginia. My last 2 years, I was the captain of the team. And in my last year, I was fortunate enough to win the ACC tournament as well as the 2009 NCAA National Championship. I played 3 years in Colorado with Quincy, and now I am transitioning into something outside of soccer, I guess on the field, off the field more. And that's a little bit about me. My kind of like my story.
All right, Quincy.
All right, guys, what's going on? I'm Quincy Amarikwa. I'm 27 years old. I'm in my sixth or seventh? I don't even know. 7th year professional soccer here in Major League Soccer. I went to University of California, Davis, where I would help the team reach. What was it? The NCAA tournament. The first 2 years we were eligible to do it. What else? I was drafted to San Jose Earthquakes in 2009, and
had a few stops along the way.
Yeah, a couple other stops. So I've been with a couple teams along the way, but for right now, with Chicago Fire and working on all this stuff with Ross while we're out here.
All right. So Quincy, why don't you tell us just a little bit about how you two met and why you decided to start working together?
Yeah, so the two of us met when we went to, Ross was drafted to the Colorado Rapids in 2010, and I was traded to the Colorado Rapids in 2010, and that's where we met. We were teammates on the field, and just through playing on the field and getting a feel for each other, we ended up like hitting it off as friends. We got our little bromance on, and through that, we were always, going back and forth with soccer stories, just development, where we played, how we did all these things. And then that led to college and talking about college and our college recruitment process and how he ended up getting where he went and how my story was completely different from that. And through that, we really realized there's a market in the niche of people who really don't understand the recruitment process. Mm-hmm. And people can really use a lot of help in that area, and I was one of those people who would have benefited a lot from having the information that we had that we've kind of put together now. So that's kind of how this all came together and how we all started working.
Okay, all right. So next, I just think it would be useful if you and Ross told us a little bit about your personal recruitment story. So Ross, if you want to start off with that.
Or do you want to?
I'll give a little bit of my recruiting story because it's probably typical of most people's recruitment story, and then Ross can kind of talk about his and how it was different and how it benefited us. Actually, no. Okay, no, that's fine. So my recruitment story is probably typical of a lot of people's. I love playing soccer. I would play, every day, anytime, any opportunity that I got the chance to. In high school and junior high and all that kind of stuff, I played club soccer and high school soccer, and I performed really well. I scored a lot of goals. I had a lot of assists, and I did really well at club tournaments on the road. And I thought at the time, naively, that that's all soccer recruiting was. You just need to play soccer, be good, and a coach will find you, they'll discover you, they'll offer you a scholarship, and you'll get to play, and that's how it goes. And if you aren't good enough to play in college, then that won't happen. And that was pretty much it. So I was very ignorant and unaware of all the other steps that go into the recruitment process. So when I went about it, I just was basically the luck. I was just hoping to get lucky. And I didn't realize that's what I was hoping for because I didn't understand the process at the time. But that's kind of how it went. So through high school and playing in club, I wasn't getting any interest from any coaches. I didn't get any calls. I didn't get any letters. I didn't anything. So as far as I was concerned, I thought high school was the extent of my soccer career. I did well academically, and I was applying to colleges that I wanted to go to on my own. And I happened to be really good at pole vault in track and field, and I had the school record. So I figured I would walk on the track and field at a school I got into academically. It wasn't until the last game of my last club soccer tournament of my senior year of high school where two college coaches happened to show up to watch other players on the other team for a recruiting class farther out, that they happened to see me and then asked about me, and I got seen, recruited, and offered a scholarship in that one day. So had it not been for extreme luck, I wouldn't have been recruited to play college soccer, let alone go on to be in my 7th year of professional career. And that really was because I had no idea about the recruitment process and what it really takes to get recruited. And mine is much different than Ross, so Ross will kind of explain his.
So Ross, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, so my story started way before my last tournament of soccer, of youth soccer. Mine started probably, I would say, 11 years old. For me, I started playing soccer when I was young. I didn't know much about the sport. I'm from the south side of Chicago, so not much influence in soccer. My mom and dad had no idea they were basketball people. But their coworkers said, yeah, soccer's the new thing. Everyone's playing it. Go out for some AYSO. And so my mom's like, I know nothing about soccer. So she grabbed a book. She actually had to become a coach so that I could play because I was too young. I was pretty good at it, and then I decided that I needed to go play at a more competitive level. I went to a club, Chicago Magic, at 7 years old, and from there I was learning a lot about the game. It was a great experience, and I think I kept progressing, and by the time I was about 12, I was like, okay, I think I can do this. I think I can continue my soccer past high school and college. To do that, though, I had no idea how we were going to go about it. I knew because I wasn't the best player that I'd have to stand out. I'd have to do something in order to get these coaches' attention because there's so many youth players and there's only a certain amount of spots. So my mom, being as proactive as she is, we talked about it. We set up a plan that would allow me to cast the biggest net and to be seen and to not just be another one in the crowd. And so through that, I kept playing in different tournaments. Like I said, my club put me in great positions to be seen by people. And come July 1st, my phone wouldn't stop ringing, and all the letters and all the things that I got because of me being proactive and kind of taking more time to figure this out. It really helped me out, and I was very fortunate enough to then play at the University of Virginia, which is one of the premier college soccer schools. So I was very fortunate with that.
Yeah, but more, I want to chime on that.
Yeah.
More importantly, Ross had 30-plus recruitment offers by the time he was a senior, as opposed to my two that were just off sheer luck. Like, he had so many more because he was extremely proactive in doing the right things and becoming the perfect recruit in the eyes of college coaches before he could even commit to a school. So
Right. So Ross, I mean, how did you know to do this? You said, you talked about sitting down with your mom, creating a game plan where you're going to go. But was it that guidance, or is that just sort of your personality, or?
I think it's a little bit of both. I guess I get that after my mom, and I think you can see Quincy is very motivated and passionate with what he does as well, and I think that's why we get along so well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just being organized and kind of understanding that hard work has to be put in if you want to succeed in anything. It is tough when you're young, right? Like I was 12, 13. I still was a little hesitant to call a soccer coach. I was still, a little nervous about the whole process. Am I good enough? Will I get, traction from these coaches? But I think me sitting down with my mom and understanding that we needed a plan. We needed to have some goals in place in order to, make my dreams a reality. And so I think the guidance that I did have, along with the kind of trial and error with what we did, ended up being beneficial. We figured out what worked, what didn't work, and like I said, when Quincy and I were in Colorado, we'd always pick each other's brains and just talk things. I don't think at that time we saw it being something that we could share with the world. So we're very fortunate with that, and I think that was kind of a little luck and a lot of hard work, which kind of got me into the positions I was in.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. So Quincy, obviously, you're a fantastic soccer player. Both you and Ross were certainly highly skilled going into this recruiting process. So with all of the tools that college soccer coaches have, why, even though you weren't maybe very proactive, why do you think the main reason is that your plan it just didn't work?
Well, I mean, the reason it didn't work is because I wasn't proactive and because I didn't understand the process.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy because if you don't learn the process till you go through the process, and if you don't make it, then it's too late. So so the main issue, or the main reason why it didn't work, was because I didn't realize that becoming a perfect college soccer recruit is much more than just the soccer. Soccer is just pretty much a small aspect of the actual process. There's so many other things that come into play: NCAA clearinghouse, NCAA rules, ACT, SAT scores, GPA, admission into the college on your own academic merit. Do you want to be in the state, out of state? Do you want to be on the East Coast, West Coast? Do you want to play Division I, Division II, III, NAIA, club, intramural, and then on top of that, men's soccer and women's soccer is completely different. Title IX comes into play. You have to worry about financial aid, FAFSA, grant and aids, scholarship. I mean, you can go on and on and on, and these are all things that you don't know until you're either already a soccer recruit or you're just at school wishing you were playing soccer or trying to become a walk-on. So the advantage that you can have is if you know all this information beforehand, you can pretty much craft a tailored resume that expands more than just the soccer side of things for college coaches. And if you can come to a college coach with this information already in hand, prepared, and you know what questions to ask them, you know what you need to have together, and you already have, let's say, a short list of the colleges that fit your criteria, one, you won't waste time with coaches who maybe aren't even interested in your services. But on top of that, you might become an ideal recruit in the eyes of coaches who would have completely overlooked you, maybe because they didn't think you're a good enough soccer player, but then you come and go, hey, I meet everything academically and financially and all that kind of stuff that fits what you want. All of a sudden, they might start looking at you in a different light that really gets you recruited, which might not have been the case otherwise. So,
Right.
so it's kind of a long-winded answer, right? But these are things that kids and parents don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. So you're sitting here thinking you're doing the right things. I thought I was doing the right thing by just playing soccer,
Right.
and doing well in school, but it wasn't. It wasn't enough, and it wasn't for getting lucky that I learned how much differently I would have done stuff if it wasn't for that information.
Right. Right. Okay. So Ross, since you sort of had this perfect system,
Yeah.
what is the first thing a player should do when they sit down for that first time and they decide they want to get started on getting recruited?
Yeah. Kind of what Quincy said, I think, is the focal point of what goes into the college soccer recruiting process. Having an idea of what you're trying to achieve, right? Quincy talked about what division you want to play at. What areas of the country would you like to play at potentially? Like you said, you're a student athlete, so student comes before athlete. So what things are you interested in? What could you see yourself maybe majoring in? I know that's it changes, but having a broad sense of what you could potentially see yourself doing academically is just as important. So for me, it was sitting down with my mom and kind of laying that out, saying where could I potentially play. That list will change over time, and I think the more you speak to coaches and you get a feel of things, maybe go on a few official visits, you'll slowly get a sense of what you want those next 4 years of your life to be, right? Those are 4 big years of your life, and you want to make sure that you make the best choice for you, for your family, whatever the case may be. And so, like I said, I just wanted to make sure that I had everything laid out so that I did have direction.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't, granted, I did have to go through, and like I said, it was 2001, 2002, so the internet wasn't like it is now. So trying to find information on like a college soccer coach and things was pretty difficult at times. But like I said, I wanted to play, and so at that point, whatever it took to play and to go to the school that I thought best fit, I was willing to do anything. And so I would say the first thing you should do is have that discussion with your parent, your guardian, on what you see right now. And like I said, through those the whole process, they could change, and that's okay. That just shows you're getting more comfortable and you're seeing what would be a best fit for you.
Right. Okay. So when should this process get started then?
I guess. So for us, we would say 8th grade to 9th grade. We don't want to say that you can't start later in the process, right? Like Quincy started the last tournament, right? Like there isn't like a specific date in which you should start. We just recommend that you start earlier, right? Start getting comfortable with the whole process. Like we said, it's a long process. You saw the things Quincy named off. That's a lot on top of your high school work. You're still playing soccer. Your extracurriculars are still, life's still happening. And so what I would say is, I would say 8th grade. We lay it out in from freshman year to senior year. So that would give you, we think, the best opportunities to capitalize on, like I said, casting a large net, getting your name out there, letting coaches know that you're serious. You're not going to wait around and hope and like say, hey, I'll just go on the field and whatever happens. This is your future. This is something that you can make reality if you just put the work in. Like I said, I'm not saying that Quincy didn't put the work in, and he did, get to play college soccer, and he showed what he has, and now he's a pro now. But we want to give everyone a chance. We want to have kids that maybe they're a little hesitant. They don't know if this is right for them. We want you to know your worth and understand that like this is possible. I wasn't the best player on my team, and then to be included in a recruiting class with like the #1 and like 5 recruit in the nation, that says a lot about like my mom and me and our, just overcoming a lot of obstacles that we didn't know much about. So if I can do it, we believe that if you're willing to put in the work and understand that this is a process, you can make those dreams reality.
Mm-hmm. It's a well-executed plan. So Quincy, do you recommend? I mean, a lot of recruits for a long time now have been making highlight videos. Do you recommend a highlight video? Is there a best way to do that, or?
I mean, so when it comes to highlight video, I obviously think it's very beneficial to have one if you can, right? But I also know that it's also not always in the realm of possibility for players. I mean, a lot of parents, the only film they have of their kid is the handheld camera, and every time they're going to do something good,
cheering.
They're cheering. Like, my dad is the worst cameraman.
Talking
ever.
to another parent.
Yeah,
you're
just
like
talking. You've got more grass.
Yeah.
Like that. So it's hard to make a highlight tape out of that. And then there are professional services to get your highlight tape made. Like I work closely with a videographer who helps do that for kids. So we extend the ability to maybe have someone come out and record for you, or take some of the tapes that you already have and chop them up and make a professional looking highlight tape. But that costs money, right? Now, if money isn't an issue or is a problem, I definitely recommend paying other people to do things for you, because there's always someone who can do something better than you can. And your time's your most valuable asset, right? So rather than fumble around learning video editing software and chopping it up and putting it together, I'd rather have a professional do that for me. But having said that, there are plenty of ways to create a highlight tape on your own, and there are cheap video editing software that you can use. And also, I know there's a couple free ones. It just depends on what you want to invest, time or some money. So a highlight tape isn't necessary, but it can help, and it can pique the interest of a coach to maybe look more into your resume or make that trip to come out and see you play in person. So it's never a bad thing to have one.
Right. Okay. All right. So Ross, other than not being proactive, is there a common mistake that players trying to get recruited make?
But like you said, proactivity is the key thing to your success. Without it, I would have not done the things that I did in my soccer career. What we would say is kind of what we spoke about earlier is having a plan. Having a plan, executing it to the best of your ability. Also, with that being said, we still have to remember that there is a big part of the game that, like soccer, the part where you have to play, right? You need to make sure, as much as the time and effort you're putting off the field, you got to put it on the field as well. Quincy talked about it with our Skills Academy, and our Skills Academy is something that we created and things that we do before, after practice that helps our game and helps us stay sharp, helps us stay ready whenever the coach calls on us. So I think if the players want to do it, that want to play in college, they got to make sure that their game's good too. They got to make sure that their first touch is good, passing ability is there, the ability to shoot the ball, defending, understanding the technical and the tactical parts of the game will be very beneficial to you down the road. So we would say, like you said, proactivity is the biggest thing. We want kids to go out there and make sure that you are a household name and that you're kind of bothering the coaches. That's what we want. We want them to say, this kid will not leave me alone. I'm going to take that as like, maybe I should go watch him. I think that was, that helped me. I bothered these coaches, and I think a few times they're like, we need to check this kid out just in case, right? If I knew if I was a college coach and a 13-year-old was calling me and he he could hold a conversation, and he was sending me emails saying, I'm going to be at this tournament. I hope you check me out. I want to come see your school. Can I come on an unofficial visit? Can I be your ball boy for your team? I mean,
Yeah.
anything you have to do to get this get coach's attention, I think is beneficial. So that's what here at Perfect Soccer, that's what we want to do with our blueprint.
All right. So long-term goal, get after it, be proactive, and just keep working on your game. Okay. So Quincy, what are some important questions that athletes should be asking coaches?
Well, I think that's difficult because for each player, depending on your age and part in school that you're at, that those questions can completely vary, right? If you're in 8th grade and you're just coming into school, it can be completely different if you're in the last tournament of your last season of your senior year of high school, right? But in the general sense, I would say early on in the recruiting process or in your potential recruiting process, you really want to ask questions that will get you familiar with the coaching staff, the coaching philosophy, the style of play of the school itself, really getting a full understanding of what it'd be like if you attended that university, right? So questions that really tailor to you getting a feel of what it'd be like to be the student athlete at that university, right? Now, once you've gotten a real good feel for that with I know Ross had potential interest in many universities, right? The farther along you get through the process, you'll narrow that down to, maybe a short list of 5 to 10 schools that you could that meet your criteria, that fit where you could see yourself playing and wanting to be a part of. Now, once you really dwindle that down later on in the recruiting process, the questions will shift more from what will it be like to be at the university, more as, okay, what can this program in this university have to offer me? Whether that's grant and aid, financial assistance if that's what's needed, or my sister's a perfect example. She just committed to her college, to the college soccer program of her choice, and a big influence in her decision was the fact that the university has a nursing program for her, right? So later in the recruiting process, you really have to look at, okay, yes, I want to play 4 years of college soccer too, right? I want to enjoy my time there. But more importantly, what will I gain from the university from an academic side of things, for my career after college? I mean, everyone obviously would love to play professional soccer and continue on the career, but having the understanding that a small percentage of people get to do that, and if you can leverage soccer as a means to get yourself an education that will last you a lifetime, that's really where you want to focus on. I don't want to go too much on that tangent. I kind of went up far from that. But for the most part, is early on get an understanding of where you could see yourself going, and then later on questions as they pertain to the university and what that'll bring on later. And we talk about a lot of those things in our book in terms of what questions to ask and when to ask them, and kind of break them up over the course of the 4 years of high school.
Okay.
I just want to add a little bit on what Quincy said. I remember the questions get tougher. They're trying to build a team that can win. So if they feel like they're wasting their time now because it's getting further along in the process, they'll let you know. They'll truly. You grow up. I remember a few conversations I wasn't ready to have. It was kind of like, yeah, I'm getting all these offers, blah, 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 it's great. And then it got down to a few, and I was like, okay, they mean business. And, like I said, they're trying to produce a team that's going to win, as well as having good characters off the field. And like we said, that's a big part of it too. Like, you want to be the great soccer player. You want to, play and everything, but the coaches understand it's going to be a 30-man roster. For men, it's 9.9 scholarships. For women, I think it's 15.5. So not many people are going to be on scholarship. So if you're one of those guys that, you know, maybe you're not going to be on scholarship, but you understand you could earn yourself a scholarship, or you could still be on the team, they want guys like that. They want players that are both, you know, good on and off the field, because college is a tough time for, you know, for kids. So they want to make sure that they're, you know, inheriting some well-received individuals.
Right. Okay, so this next question is for both of you guys, and it's a little bit more about actually playing the game. So if you could go back to high school and just really fine-tune one skill or one part of your game that would have made the transition to college a lot easier, what would that be? Ross, you can go first if you want, or Quincy.
You have me?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say for me it would be I understood. I guess my tactics were pretty good. For me, I was pretty ready for. I mean, this is kind of off your question. I was ready for it. I'm not gonna lie. I was ready for it.
Yeah.
We at the club I was at, it was intense. I had one day off a week, and I would always play against older competition. And I remember cones being set up and understanding where we should be at certain times on the field, and understanding how we want to play out of the back, and all the tactics that are needed in soccer. I would say that should be something that kids are focusing on. I think it's difficult to sometimes it's difficult in the sense that you forget that stuff is a part of the game. You just want to go out there and play. But I understood that tactics were a big part of it, and so I think it did help my transition. I think the physicality of the game was something I couldn't get used to, and I probably should have lifted some more weights, but yeah, the speed of play is kind of quick. So I was good enough in the sense of I understood the tactics, but I think my game overall, yeah, I should be playing more. I should be, you know, working on my touch, on my shooting, my passing. But the college game, yeah, it'll grow you up. But my tactics were pretty good, but I would say my overall game could have, yeah, I needed some improvement. So.
Well, Quincy, what about you?
So it's funny how greatly different Ross and I's process to getting to professional was different, right? Like, I wasn't on the particularly best club soccer team or the best high school team growing up, and I think a big thing that might have hurt me is the lack of development of the tactical side of the game, and understanding and developing a soccer IQ. You know, and that's not something that you notice when you're a young kid growing up. Like when you're watching soccer or you're on the field, you're just doing the things that you enjoy. You know, You go, oh, I like finishing and shooting, so I'm shooting. I like dribbling and doing tricks, so that's what I'm watching. But it's not until you get older that you realize. You just take a step back and you look, okay, well, why is this guy receiving the ball in this manner? Why did he make this run this way? Why is he not making a run at this point in time? What side of the field is he playing the ball on, and how is that affecting future movement of the game? You know, so if there was something that I would go back to and really focus on, it'd basically be what me and Ross have kind of coined as the 3 pillars of soccer success, right? Is having a baseline fundamentals of the game that transcends every single different style of soccer, right? No matter if you're Barcelona and you like the ticky-tacky passing and playing, or you're Chelsea who will get your goal and pack it in, right? There's still each person on the team has to develop a solid first touch, has to have good movement of the ball passing around the field, and you need people that are finishing the goals, right? And then everything else, philosophy and style of play, fills in all the gaps that follow around that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could go back, those would be the things I'd really focus more on and develop more. And because of that, that's why we created Skills Academy, which is our online video training center that kind of fills in the gaps on how to become the complete player on the field. And the recruiting blueprint is there to facilitate that, but also show you how to become the best recruit off the field. And you combine the two together, and you're going to find a college soccer program that you can play for.
So this video training series that you guys have created is also available at perfectsoccerrecruit.com, correct?
Yep. So we have, so it started out as Perfect Soccer Recruit. Well, it still is perfectsoccerrecruit.com, but it started out with our ebook and just teaching parents and kids the recruiting process. And through that, we got a lot of feedback and questions on how do I become a soccer player, a better soccer player, you know? Like what skills and abilities do I need to improve the soccer game to the next level? And what is it that college coaches and professional coaches are looking for in their players when they're making these decisions? And with all those questions, we took those on, and then we created our online training center that really focuses on those three fundamentals and building them out from there. And we're going to be adding more to our online training center, and we have a lot of other aspects of the game, you know, soccer conditioning, speed and agility, and fitness and nutrition, you know. So there's a lot of aspects that create a soccer player, a perfect soccer player, and we want to be able to provide information and training to improve whatever aspect of your game that you feel you need to improve on.
All right. So next couple questions are for both of you guys, and just getting into some of the fun stuff before we go to audience questions. So I wanted to ask both of you guys, do you have a guilty pleasure warm-up song that you really gets you hyped?
Eric, guilty pleasure or just pleasure? I mean,
it's up to you.
Mine's just pleasure. Miley Cyrus, Party in USA. For more reasons than not, but that song special to me.
I thought you might go with The Climb.
I mean, that's a good one too, but I mean, this Party in USA, it was a good stress reliever for my teammates at UVA. A little nervous before a game, and we had to use the nerves. So Party in USA, Miley Cyrus.
All right, Quincy.
Yeah, and then mine, I don't even know if it's like a guilty pleasure. I just like,
yeah.
I like sometimes before I was talking to Ross.
I won't hide it.
I like listening to like classical music when I'm in the locker room before a game. I'm just chilling, just get in my zone, and kind of like to take a nap and just sleep until right before I have to go out and warm up. Which,
loves some Mozart.
Yeah, love some Beethoven action in here.
That's cool. All right. So next question is obviously the Women's World Cup is happening right now. USA still in it, but what are your guys' World Cup final predictions, or what do you think is going to happen? I mean,
USA's going to win, but I don't know the rest. You know.
Okay, but USA.
I'll answer this. USA. A lot of critics on how they've been playing, and not finding the goal as easily. But hey, if you're winning and you keep advancing, more power to you. I'm totally behind the team. I think they're finding their way. They're finding ways to win, and that's a part of it. You want to win. It's pretty. If it's not, it's not. No one's going to say that when you're hoisting that trophy in the last game. And so it'll be interesting to see this game against China tomorrow. A few yellow card accumulations. I think we have the players to step in. One UVA alum, Morgan Bryant, will step in the midfield and boss it. I'm proud of her. Becky Sauerbrunn, another Wahoo. And Steve Swanson's actually assistant coach, who when I was at Virginia, we used to play a little pickup with him, and he used to kind of rough me up sometimes. I was like, Steve, come on, you're the coach.
Come on.
So, go USA.
All right. So let's hit Twitter for a couple questions from fans. Let's see.
Come on, fans. Do we have any fans?
Yeah.
Do we have any questions? Do we have
Let's
any
see.
questions?
At Alan_Jaleel3 asks, my brother will be a senior this fall, and he's been lightly scouted. Will participating in 4 camps this summer help his stock?
That is a good question. Wow, first one.
Well, I guess I would ask for an extension question. Well, we can't really get from him, but this is my thought process would be: Are these the camps for which he's gotten interest from? If so,
great.
Yes, yeah, I think it would be beneficial because it just gives them more opportunity for the coach to see them and further validate in the coach's mind why they want this player part of his program. I do know, though, that sometimes those camps can get expensive. So I'd really focus on the ones where you personally feel you have the best opportunity or the best relationship that you've built with the coach through your recruiting process to get picked up.
But like you said, if money isn't an issue and you want to go to those camps, more power to you. Like you said, you're casting that big net. You're being proactive in wanting to play college soccer. And so if 5 camps and you could stand out and you could, even, get some time with the coach or ask some questions, I'd totally do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see. At Denim_John asked, how open to playing a new position at the college level should a young player be?
Another good question.
Jeez. These are questions that we answer in the book.
Yeah.
But usually things that people don't even know to ask or to think about. So this is a good one. Go ahead, Ross.
Okay. And so I think you should be open to playing a new position. I think when you're getting recruited, play your best position. Play the position that you are comfortable with, right? You want to put your best foot forward. After that, you get recruited, you go to the school, the coach might see something different in you. I started, I was a midfielder, played a little forward, and my whole preseason, my first year of college, I did it as a defender. Did that for that whole year. Later in the year, we had a few injuries, so I played up top a little bit. And then as my career went on, I kept changing positions. There wasn't a set position. My coaches knew that I was very versatile and that I could play other positions, which I think helped me because then they weren't worried about putting me in a certain position. They said, hey, you can play anywhere. You can fill in this spot, and coaches like that. The more versatile you are and the more positions you can play, the more time you can get on the field. So I would say through the process, make sure you're playing your best position because, first impressions are lasting. And when you get there, that's up to the coaches to decide where they see you fit into the program. And
as open as you possibly can.
Exactly. Good question.
All right.
Great question.
All right. Next, we've got at Scarlett Tubin asks, do you have any etiquette tips for talking to coaches? Just some helpful do's and don'ts.
I get that one.
Yeah.
So, yes, etiquette tips, obviously, be polite, right, on the phone. But more importantly, you're going to be speaking to a lot of well, if you follow what we say, you'll be speaking to a lot of coaches,
Yes.
Which you should be. And because of that, it can get confusing with names and programs and who's who. So making sure you keep either a short list or a document or Excel sheet. I know in our back office we have like a spreadsheet to make sure you have the names of the coaches.
Correct.
Their correct names, even pronunciation of their names, proper phone numbers and email addresses and stuff like that. I think most people realize it when it happens, like when someone misspells your name, it kind of just rubs you the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
Or if they say your name incorrectly. If someone does it, then in your mind you might even subconsciously feel like, oh, they don't even care enough to know my name or to say it correctly. So how serious could they be about attending my college soccer program or whatever. You know what I mean? So be as polite as you can be, but also be as versed as you can with the coach in the particular program. It only helps you the more information you know about the coach. Like, hey, coach, I know you played at this place and you did this, and your team won this many games last year, and you like fishing. You know what I mean? As much information as you can get on anybody in particular, it shows them care enough to learn about them and their program, so they'll be more inclined to want you to be a part of the program.
Okay, so let's see. Last question here. We'll go to @randazzle_11. What are good questions to ask the players when on a visit to see if they're happy with the coach/program? So you're there for a visit. You're hanging out with the players. You know, maybe what are some good questions, or maybe what's some stuff to avoid asking?
Yeah, that's a kind of a good thing about players. Players are a great resource to kind of get a feel for it when you are there. They do it every day. They go to class. They have to do weights. They have to do practice. They have to do everything that's required of a student athlete. While you're there, I would say try to be as comfortable as you can around them. I know it's nerve-wracking. You know, they're older than the coaches. It's tough at times. Some questions I would ask are, just things about the school, the program that are important. You know, you're walking around, he shows you the field, and you say, oh, like how many home games you guys have here? What was your favorite game? Can you remember your favorite game and what you guys won? Or have you guys hosted any NCAA games here? The questions, I guess, could just depend on the situation. Still talk about the academics. Still ask him, what you would need to get in here. What kind of grades his team has. Maybe what's the team GPA. Maybe there's an academic coordinator there that you can meet with your parents to kind of get a better sense of what kind of the rigor of the academics are going to be at the school. There's a lot of things you can ask. I don't think there's anything that you shouldn't ask. Just be polite.
Actually,
and
you shouldn't ask. You shouldn't ask about money and talk about money too early on in the process. So the coach just shows up and then you just go, okay, cool. So how much money are you going to give me on the scholarship?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
You know what I mean? That's more something that comes later on when you already have a good understanding of the fact that the coach wants you at the program. You want to attend that school, and then financial talks can come into play.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any real benefit to you to jump in that too early. Not until you know for sure that you even would want to go to that university in the first place.
And like I said, if there's players of the team there, ask them anything. They're open to it. They've been through the process. They understand that some stuff is the same questions you had, they had, and they will be more. Not that the coaches won't be receptive, but they're open. Yeah, they're honest. They're kids too. They want to see you, all your questions answered, and they don't mind answering them. I remember on my visits, I asked so many questions about things and how they liked it, and how they got through it. Because college it's tough. It's going to be tough, but it's going to be well worth it once you're playing soccer at the school. That you actively searched and coaches found interest in you as well.
All right. Well,
great question.
That's about all the time we've got for today. So thanks again for joining us. If you're watching this on AmplifiedSoccerAthlete.com, make sure to check out the quiz at the bottom of the page. We didn't cover all of the answers, so if you still need some help, head to PerfectSoccerRecruit.com. Remember to check out the article from Quincy and Ross in this month's edition of the Amplified Soccer Athlete magazine, available in the Apple app and Google Play stores. And once again, visit perfectsoccerrecruit.com for more resources to help you in your recruiting process. Also, be sure to follow Amplified Soccer, Quincy, and Ross on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.